All right. Hi, it's Kate Godina. It is 10 p.m. in Salt Lake City on December 24th, 2022. And I just uh, wanted to get on and say hello and um, just get back into the groove because I'd been putting off my streams, keeping busy at home. And I was busy um, earlier today, all day, but things settled down and getting ready to put out some cookies and milk for Santa and get the kids to sleep. But um, yeah, it's fun to be at this time in my life because the kids are old enough to appreciate what's going on when they're young. They don't really understand the holidays and they can get tired and overwhelmed with going to all the family activities. So, um, we've got another Christmas with bouncing from one mom's to the other mom's house. So we'll just do a quick check out what the kids got in the stockings, and then we'll go to my mom's, and then we get to go to my mother-in-law's house. So we're lucky that we have family close. Um, but I think it's funny too because it's also so overwhelming. And I told my husband he could choose if he wanted to go to his family's big Christmas Eve party. Um, but it's just a lot. Uh, so we didn't do that. We had some Chinese food takeout with my dad and hung out for a little while. And my dad lives in San Diego, but he comes up for the holidays, so that's really nice. And hi, Clemmy. Thanks for watching, hun. Um, so yeah, we're just celebrating the Christmas spirit. And hi, CJ. Thank you for being here again. You're my loyal follower. No, I think of you as a friend now, and I think that's really cool. And that was one thing I wanted to comment about tonight. Is in trying to recognize that it's really for lack of a better description. Um, because Sebs on Doom's Dungeon was saying she doesn't like the term woke or waking up. But yeah, for want of a better word for now, I will just say that I'm sort of understanding more and more every day um, the implications of having distorted points of view. So I hope my kids will agree when they're older and they're reflective upon their childhood, but I really do try and explain to them where I'm coming from. And when I get frustrated with them, um, just saying, yeah, sometimes there's things that I need you to do, without question. But as much as I can, I try and give them a lot of freedom and a lot of their own ability to make their choices. So it's interesting because I had a conversation with my mom last week, and she was explaining her relationship with her mom. And it was interesting because their dynamic was, Jane, go clean your room. And then her mother, Arlene, would inspect. And my mom said that she hated that. And so she tried to be a little more lax with us. And I think she was. And she said, well, maybe I overcompensated. And And I thought that was interesting because I think that's very common, and it's, something I remember from driver's ed that, it's almost more dangerous to have a very quick reaction. Um, like if you just suddenly slam on your brake, but you could have maybe eased to slowing, um, and not caused someone to rear end you because you just slammed on your brake out of the blue. Um, so when I'm driving, I like to tap the brake, especially on the freeway, especially when you're coming up to that point where everybody's stopped and you've been cruising pretty fast. So I like to tap my brakes a few times because I have an old car. I don't have one of those blinky brake lights like some of the new cars have. But the point of that is just to say, um, we want to be able to correct our behaviors. We want to be able to look at what we're doing with some objectivity, like not being so certain and not having to be so right all the time, that it's okay to admit your mistakes. And that's what I hope to instill in my kids, is just that. And for me too, I need to learn this lesson because I've always beat myself up unnecessarily. And so I don't want to see my kids, or rather, I don't want my kids to see me doing that, beating myself up. And then, you know, they're going to learn how to behave that way as well. So, my son's in speech therapy class, and um, it was hard for us to be able to attempt to get him to listen to what he was saying. And um, he couldn't hear that he was saying the wrong words or the wrong sounds, and then he would get really mad if we were correcting him. And so with his speech therapy, it's great because he's um, more acceptable of being corrected. He has a better attitude about it. And that's awesome, and he's really coming along well, and he really likes his teacher, and it's just so nice that, we're fortunate enough to give him, uh, a catered, focused program. So I'm very grateful that we have the means to do that for him. Um, and I really got into it with my dad. This is the airing of grievances part of the talk tonight. But we had to have it out a little bit yesterday, and it was nice that we were able to just get it out there in the open. And I just asked him to give me the benefit of the doubt because he's been interpreting the kids not being enrolled in a school as me giving them no academic training whatsoever. And so I just asked him to give me a break and to understand that I just really want to approach things as a mom in general with following my kids' lead and really being observant of what it is that they need, and um, not trying to be so strict and put them into a mold that may break them, you know. So I love how creative and funny that my kids are, and that's what I'm really celebrating. I think my talk yesterday sounded a little bit, um, cheesy, but the point I'm getting at always is that, like, I want to respect other people's beliefs, and my beliefs are evolving. So this is back to the waking up part. Um, I'm realizing more and more every day that even though it can be uncomfortable to be honest with somebody, um, it if it breaks the situation, fine. You learn lessons from that, but it can really strengthen bonds the more honest that you are. And So that's really what I'm going for. And when I talk about faith or I talk about God, a lot of it is in respect to the beliefs of my ancestors for many generations. And so I don't want to just drop that. Um, but I am forging my own uh, you know, spiritual path, as cheesy as that sounds. Um, and so yeah, I think I am kind of making it buffet style where I'm trying to look at history um, with the lens of, my own family and uh, the country that I live in, but also the world abroad. Because I did come from a very kind of liberal point of view. And so a lot of the different talks that I've been listening to lately, um, two women that are really interesting that I appreciate are Emily Moyer and Danny Katz. And um, they've been talking recently about not wanting to compromise. And I listen to a number of women that are like really hard nosed and like um there's just things that they don't want to put up with anymore. And I get into that camp sometimes, but I am really wary of a trend of just like getting on to bash things and scoff at things. And I just, I don't like how I become um like that. I I wish that I could be like both cynical but also, really loving. But I feel like that's a split. And so I don't know if that makes me uh just weird. I don't know if I know how to explain this concept, but um it's something that I'm trying to think about and find the words for, because I love getting snarky. I really do. I love making fun of things. Um but I guess it's like I want to be able to appreciate where, you've made the wrong turn, where you can say, "Oh yeah, that's the place in which I was thinking about things without certain context." And I do want to give people room to, you know, in the future change their minds. But I think we really are at a crux right now where you're either going to buy into well, let's get your DNA test just because you're curious about your ancestry. Um, you're going to join these like groups, these clubs, and like you're not going to understand the greater implication. I mean, just with those DNA companies, I mean, yeah, what are they doing with that information and who owns it? And I watched a clip with Benjamin Netanyahu about talking about their um, cataloging of all their citizens' DNA. And there's going to be people that buy into the health side of things where they're perfectly happy with their government owning all the information about their health and their genetics, or private companies. Because let's face it, government gets big when we're, outsourcing to private companies, contractors for all of these things, right? So, uh, I these are the things I'm trying to study more about. I really come from a naive place still, but these things are on my radar. So, yeah, CJ, thanks. I mean, I think I'm just a loss for words. And so, yeah, I appreciate your sentiment. You're both cynical and empathic. I don't think it's weird. I think a lot of people have multiple sides to themselves. So yeah, and I mean, if you believe in astrology, it wouldn't surprise you to know I'm a Gemini. So yeah, I'm totally split. And that's what I was talking to my dad about. It's just like I'm observant and I'm caring and empathic, and I will always try and see both sides, but my parents' politic and religious points of view could just not be farther apart. And so I've always been struck with that challenge of figuring out how to negotiate through life, logically and morally, um, and love these two people that have, really become so divided. Um, so anyway, I just have been thinking about that, and so yeah, I wanted to just share a little bit and just say, yeah, sometimes you have to talk the shit. It helps you process those emotions that maybe we bottle up. Um, but I just want to make sure as I continue course that I'm able to say, oh yeah, like I read a piece from the Consilience Project back when I thought they were kind of going in the right direction. I was listening to the Brett Weinstein and Daniel Schmachtenbergers and those people a few years ago. And even at the beginning of this year, I was still kind of like, huh, well, maybe they do have some like um uh some values that I can get behind. But a lot of the stuff I've been listening to recently has really been calling that shit out. And every day I feel like my head explodes with all the shit that I still don't know. And I think that's the funny thing. Um, you know, if you discover a missing link, you actually just expand the chain. Um, so, yeah, there's just a lot that is on my mind. And so I'm just so grateful that I'm able to practice um, getting this kind of flow going in a space where, yeah, it's ironic because this is like a very public forum, but most people know me by my former name, Kate Cook, and I dropped Facebook, and I've just been doing these videos, and I wanted to call myself Kate Cook, but there's other Kate Cooks out there, and so Kate Godina was a good way to adopt my husband's name, and the few people that came over to follow me from Facebook and the few randoms that have stumbled upon this channel, it feels really good when I have like 20 something subscribers, and I'm lucky enough to have somebody live in the chat with me. So, CJ, I thank you once again. That's really awesome for you to be here and to share your thoughts with me. And I hope that you'll email me. Please let me know if you would want to do a podcast of some kind, because I just want to get more comfortable putting myself out there. And so um, if you're willing to talk to me more directly, that would be awesome. I have a Proton Mail account, Kate Godina. So anyone that would be willing to reach out to me privately, that would be welcome. Um, I just think that where I'm at right now in my waking up process is really just discovering all the things that I don't know and appreciating um, those moments of being wowed by something in the world and being pleased to learn that you've been wrong. Um, but that's okay. So many of us have been wrong and we've survived. And I think that's why it's important to read and to listen to other points of view, because then you can then learn from others' experiences and maybe not make the same mistakes. And we only have this one life to live. Um, I may believe that there's a possibility of reincarnation, but the point, I think, of reincarnation is that you are here now. This is the moment that matters. And so we don't need to worry about the afterlife if we are fully living here in this moment. And so um, that's where I do identify with a character, a persona like Jesus, because he was truly a rebel and he was not qualified to be a rabbi, and yet he preached anyway, and he attracted people and was taking the power away from, um, you know, the the traditional way. And so I think it's great to be able to be ourselves and be changing all the time and explore our multiple sides. Um, but there's just some things that I'd really like to um, cling to, and that's just kindness and decency. Um, and so, yeah, when I get cynical, I equally want to um, measure that cynicism with, with the humor. And so I think that's what's going to save us is not as serious as everything is right now. Um, we can't be too serious. We're going to really break then. And this is our chance. This is our life to live. And we've got to make the best of it. And so in that way, I'm an eternal optimist. Um, but Jesus believed in reincarnation and making Earth a better place to return to. I'm down with that. Yes, I'm down with that too. So CJ, you're gonna email me. Awesome. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Um, I'm just I'm really glad that I've been finding these different small uh channels, and a lot of them are doing live shows. And so there's many of the same people in the chats. And so I think that's the coolest thing, is when you can create a community that is really, really small. And the community doesn't mean that you all, excuse me, that you're all sharing the same beliefs per se, but that you're still willing to work together, you know? So with that, just because I have this tickle in my throat and it's getting late, I need to get the kids to bed. But I am so glad that I had a couple of you in the chat tonight. That's sweet. And that encourages me to be looking into. I want to start doing uh, streams where I can share my screen. I just haven't decided which company I want to pay to facilitate that. It's really ironic because of all the years I worked in broadcasting, this is the most janky video quality and audio channel ever. Um, so I do know how to produce legit things, but I also know those things require investment, and we're just really trying to pay the bills right now. So I'm really lucky that I've had so many um, views here on this small little channel, because I am trying to challenge myself to not hide from the challenges ahead. But I know my shortcomings, and I know that I need feedback. I need to set goals and work hard so that I can really continue to learn how to learn how to communicate, And, and that's how you can become the teacher, um, is, by being the student first. So that's what I appreciate most about being a mom, because it wasn't something I was sure I would do. Um, and fortunately, when I met my husband Zev, I knew that yeah, we should have our kids. And they are awesome. They're so funny. They're so beautiful. And they do challenge me, and it does make me want to work really hard for them, because we do have to be aware of all these things that are coming at us. Um, I do believe I do believe that, um, a lot of those, ad hominem attacks at people who question the status quo, um, I think we can fend them off. I think we're strong enough to do that, and we're strong enough to maintain, being kind to one another. Um, so yeah, we're really, really fortunate, um, because yeah, our challenges really have made us stronger, and I think that's what if I were to say that I was certain I'd lived other lives and I had the opportunity to stay in spirit land, whatever, stay in heaven. And I said, no, I'm going to go back again. I'm going to go back to Earth to be mom to Lucas and Clemmy. Um, I'm going to accept the challenges of the time. And I'm going to do it with a sense of humor. So, uh, I don't know why I wanted to put myself through such a tough time, but, str now I wanna listen to "Strong" by Britney Spears. Oh my god, that's funny because, years ago, Britney had her breakdown, and, she shaved her head, and, and then I was a part of a art project where a photographer asked, um local women if they would shave their head for a photo shoot, and so I did. This big mop, um, was shaved clean, um, years ago, but that was something people would ask is like, "Did I do it because of Britney?" But, yeah, just last, or 2 years ago, I guess, when Britney was going through all that drama, with her emancipation, um, that really hit me hard. I was so upset about what Britney was going through a few years ago. So, yeah, that's funny because 'cause I'm definitely a '90s kid. I graduated high school in 2002, so Britney Spears was everything for us. That's so funny. But, yeah, I mean, I am corny as heck, but, hopefully that makes me endearing when, I curse like a sailor too, you know? So, um, I think we should definitely appreciate our multifaceted, um, traits. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll be checking in with you really soon. So, thanks again. Good night.